What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing a Mother's Day themed team in the Open Ultra League submitted to the channel by Palitro who's running Kangaskhan, which is meant to represent a mother and her child, with Florages and Roserade in the back, which are of course going to be flowers. It is of course Mother's Day in the UK, so happy Mother's Day to any of the mums that are watching this video. I can't imagine there are many, but with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What's the #1 regional Pokemon that you wish spawned where you live? Let me know in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead Kangaskhan into Skeledirge, so this is a great lead matchup for us. The opponent's going to say swap into Tapu Fini, and we are completely hardwalling the opponent so far. They will go for a Surf, not going to do too much damage. It is resisted. Surf, yeah, not even going to get us into the yellow health range. Honestly, we might be able to go for a full Poison Jab farm down. No, we're actually going to go for a Weather Ball. This probably won't KO here. It doesn't quite take them out there. The opponent does make it to a second Surf, but we've seen already, this will not KO from this range, and we will get that Poison Jab farm down. They now come in with a Poliwrath, so probably going to shield this up and go for a full resisted counter farm down, which makes a lot of sense. They will get more energy, but we can continue to hardwall this opponent as we come in with our Florages. We are going to let the first move go through. They go for an Icy Wind, doesn't do much damage. They swap into Skeledirge. We come back in with the Kangaskhan. We go for a Crunch. The opponent does actually win CMP here, it looks like. So Disarming Voice, going to go unshielded. We're still not going to use any of our shields. Go for a Crunch. Crunch is going to deal big damage in this matchup. The opponent will make it to another Disarming Voice. At this point, we probably should be shielding this up. We're going to shield. It is the Disarming Voice. We can now go for the Mudslap farm down, go for a Brick Break, which did get a buff this season. This will permanently debuff the opponent's defense as they can't swap out and clear the debuff. Our Switchcock did just come up there, but we're just going to let the Kangaskhan go down. We can still safely let one move go through, but we're going to shield anyways. It is the Icy Wind. We are debuffed in our attack, but they're debuffed in their defense, so that kind of cancels it out. We go for Disarming Voice, grab a shield. We're going to go for the second Disarming Voice, and this should be enough damage to take out the Poliwrath, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Kangaskhan into Melmetal, so a bit of a neutral matchup. Of course, Melmetal probably going to be running Superpower, but these Mudslaps are already chunking. We're going to shield the first one. Personally, I wouldn't shield the first one, but it is the Superpower. I was going to say typically you wouldn't go for Superpower straight away because that will debuff the opponent's defense and their attack. So now we can debuff their defense another stage going for that Brick Break, and this isn't going to hit nearly as hard as they go for the Superpower. They then swap into Obstagoon, and we can just go for another Brick Break. This is double super effective damage. It's not the hardest hitting move ever, and Kangaskhan doesn't get stabbed, so it doesn't do too much damage there, but we can swap into our Florages, completely wall their energy, assuming they're not running Hyper Beam or Gunk Shot, and it doesn't look like they are, otherwise they probably would have farmed to it, which means we can over farm here quite considerably. We're at least going to farm to the back Disarming Voices. That does make a lot of sense. First one takes out the Obstagoon. They're going to come back in with the Melmetal. There's no point going for Psychic here, as Psychic isn't a particularly good move, and it is also resisted, so just go for the Disarming Voices. Gonna let this move go through here as the opponent's going to go for a Rock Slide. It doesn't quite take us out. They then swap into a Shadow Swampert, and this is actually quite an awkward matchup for us here. We are going to shield this up. The opponent is going to full send a Sludge Wave. Now Sludge Wave is only neutral due to the Poison and Grass typing, sort of counteracting the super effective and resisted damage there, but the opponent will make it to a second Sludge Wave before we make it to another Grass Knot, and Sludge Wave takes out the Roserade there. We're now going to come in with the Florages, go for a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice gets the Swampert low, and we're actually going to choose not to throw here. I like this play because if we KO the Swampert, we give the opponent an opportunity to come in with the Melmetal, farm us down and make it to another charge move, but like that we can just Mudslap, farm down the Melmetal, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see a Swampert in the lead. So we've seen already that Roserade doesn't actually have the most dominant matchup up against the Swampert, so we're not really going to look to swap out of this matchup. You can say we do tank a Hydro Cannon reasonably well. Going to go for a Brick Break here. Brick Break really not going to do much damage, but it will grab a shield and debuff their defense. So we are going to no shield once again. We should be able to make it to a Crunch now before the opponent makes it to the next charge move, but we settle for just a Brick Break. And we're going to see, even with a debuff to their defense, that really does not do much damage whatsoever. But the opponent's going to bank a ton of energy, swap into Cresselia, and we can fire off a Crunch. Now this hits for super effective damage. It really doesn't do that much damage either. Kangaskhan, pretty bulky. We are going to think about what to do here. We're going to come in with our Roserade. And if they're running Future Sight, this would just probably one-shot us, to be honest. And it is the Future Sight, so good shield usage there. We are going to overfarm, go for a Grass Knot just before they make it to the next charge move. Grass Knot is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, so we swap. We catch the Future Sight onto our Florages. This isn't going to hit nearly as hard as it is only neutral damage. They come back in with a Swampert. We can still tank a Hydro Cannon from this range. The opponent is going to fire back-to-back Hydro Cannons there just to get rid of us immediately, and that's absolutely fine. We can now come in with the Roserade, go for a full Poison Jab farm down, and let's see, the opponent comes back in with the Cresselia. We are able to get a full Poison Jab farm down once again, but unfortunately it's a Giratina in the back, so this is awful for us. We're going to see that Grass Knot will actually get shielded there, not really necessary. I think Giratina can resist literally everything we can possibly throw. And yeah, Grass Knot really does not do much damage whatsoever. Actually, no, we could be running, I think, Dazzling Gleam there, so it did make sense to shield that up, but we are now going to go for the Mud Slap damage here into this Tentacle. We go for a Crunch straight away. Of course, Brick Break is resisted damage, although Crunch really doesn't do that much damage either, so maybe you could warrant going for a Brick Break there to debuff their defense, but they swap out anyway, so they would have just cleared the debuffs there. But we're able to swap, hopefully catch a Liquidation here, and it is the Liquidation, which is resisted damage. It looks like they get the defense drop there. I'm not really sure what's going on with like the text coming up like a few seconds later. It's a bit strange, but anyways, we're going to shield up the X-Scissor, go for a Grass Knot, and Grass Knot from this range will be taking out the Golisopod. The opponent's going to come back in with their Tentacruel. We do make it to a second Grass Knot here, and this will probably KO from this range. The opponent gonna let it go through. It does take them out there, and they've got Greninja in the back, so running a triple water theme team, which is quite interesting, especially since none of them actually counter any of the weaknesses to like electric typing, for example. But we over-tap there, we go for one extra Mud Slap, which we didn't need to do, and then we end up having to use our shield here to shield up a Night Slash. But we've seen Kangaskhan is very bulky, they have to go for Hydro Cannon because a Night Slash does not take us out. We can now debuff them for a second time, and this will be game over. As we grab the final shield, we can now come in with the Florages, we can live anything they can possibly throw. They won't make it to back-to-back Hydro Cannons, and even if they did, it wouldn't quite take us out there, but we're able to make it to a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice takes out Greninja, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see a Talonflame in the lead. Now this is actually really scary because of course we are hitting full resisted damage with these Mud Slaps. And we've got two Pokemon that really do not appreciate the fire typing in the back, especially Roserade, going to be taking super effective damage from both fire and flying type Pokemon, and Florages also hitting full resisted damage with the fairy damage there. So here, we did at least bait with a Brick Break. The opponent's going to overfarm, allow us to make it to a Crunch, and Crunch does hit for huge damage. We also get a defense drop with that Crunch as well, but they get a full Incinerate farm down, which is really not ideal for us. We're going to shield this up, they go for a Flame Charge, the opponent's actually going to go for an extra Incinerate. They didn't need to do that, and we're able to Poison Jab farm them down, which is absolutely huge. They now come in with a Shadow Ampharos. We're going to throw on the CMP tie here, and a Grass Knot doesn't quite take them out there. That is really unfortunate. So we're actually going to use our final shield here. They go for a Brutal Swing, and they've got Feraligatr in the back. So this is a little bit tricky here. Of course, they're going to be using their shield. We do bait, but it doesn't really make a difference as we're only making it 2-1 charge move anyway. So might as well play it safe, go for a Grass Knot there. But we can now come in with the Florages. I think this is just going to depend on who wins CMP. I think 2 Hydro Cannons with the Shadow Claw damage will just barely take out our Florages. And likewise, 2 Disarming Voices with the Fairy Wind damage will also KO, so it just depends who wins CMP, and unfortunately it is the Feraligatr. Hydro Cannon from this range does barely take out the Florages, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, we see Ampharos in the lead, so a very good lead matchup for us. Of course, we're not a ground type, so we're not resisting any of this damage. They're not going to farm to a potential focus bar, so we can just safely let the first move go through as they go for a Brutal Swing, and now they swap into a Charm Granbull. This might seem strange going for that Brick Break, as it doesn't do much damage whatsoever, but this will allow us to fully Poison Jab, farm down the Granbull before they make it to a charge move, and we come out with a ton of loaded energy. Now, we throw on really poor timing there, but we're going to grab a shield anyways. The opponent then overfarms anyways as well, so it doesn't really make a difference. We now full send the Grass Knot, taking out the Ampharos, and the opponent's running double charm, so this feels so good to absolutely destroy it with a Poison Jab Roserade. We're going to go for the Grass Knot, grab the final shield from the opponent, but we've got them so low that we can come in with either Pokemon realistically. I think we're going to come in with the Florages, just go straight for that Disarming Voice. It might actually not KO from this range. We're actually going to no shield here, probably going to try and 2 shield flex up against this opponent. Go for a Disarming Voice. Does it KO from this range? Yes, it does, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Galvantula in the lead. So this isn't as good as Ampharos because they are only taking neutral damage from these mud slaps, but Galvantula is fairly squishy. They are going to go for a lunge straight away, of course. We're now going to swap, clear the debuff, and we will just barely outpace them to a weather ball as well, which is really nice, as this will be grabbing a shield from the opponent. They can now go for a lunge debuff, which we probably don't have to shield, but we're going to shield anyways. And we will be able to outpace them once again to the next charge move. The opponent tries to catch the weather ball there, which is a smart play, but we hold onto the energy, go for a grass knot. Grass knot really doesn't do that much damage either, but that's fine. We can just let the Rosary go down at this point. The opponent's going to bait with a Night Slash though, that won't KO, and we can go for another grass knot here before they can fully farm us down. Grass knot will be grabbing both shields from the opponent. We are going to wait out our switch lock here, come in with the Kangaskhan and go for a crunch before the opponent reacts and thinks about what they want to do, and crunch doesn't quite take them out there, unfortunately, but we're going to swap. This will probably be a Night Slash, as they wouldn't go for a Shadow Ball up against a normal type, so really nice play, and we see a Feraligatr once again, so hopefully Florges can get its revenge this time around. We're going to let the first move go through. They go for the Hydro Cannon. We will be able to outpace them to back-to-back charge boosts from full health, though. I'm not certain, it doesn't look like that will quite take them out there, but we will be able to outpace them to a third charge move as well, so we're looking fine here. We can actually just let this move go through. Actually, no, I forgot they still have a Galvantula, but it doesn't matter. They have to throw their energy here. Lunge takes us out. We can just Mud Slap, farm them down. We are double resisting the Shadow Claw damage. We will make it to a Brick Break, and Brick Break will be enough damage to KO from this range. We're able to take out Feraligatr, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Alolan Ninetales in the lead. So the opponent is going to be running Charm as the fast move here. Of course, we do have a Poison type in the back, so it will be interesting to see if we just stay in this matchup completely or if we try and swap out at some point. But going to go for the Brick Break. You can see it really doesn't do that much damage in neutral matchups, but it does debuff their defense. So now these Mud Slaps are chunking just a little bit more. We actually use our shield there, go for Brick Break number 2. Brick Break does at least grab a shield at this point, and they swap into a Shadow Swampert, and we're able to make it to another Brick Break before the opponent throws any of their energy. Excuse me there. The opponent's going to let the next Brick Break go through. Could have possibly committed to a full Mudshot farm down, but I think we would have made it to yet another charge move. We come in with our Roserade. We've seen already, Shadow Swampert actually doesn't do that bad in this matchup. They full send an Earthquake. We should be able to take them out with just a Wither Ball at this point. So we're going to go for it here. Wither Ball will be taking out the Shadow Swampert. We've already seen that they've got a Charm Alolan Ninetales, but they've got a Skeledirge in the back, and unfortunately there's nothing we can do there since Kangaskhan had gone down, so we just concede the match. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Feraligatr in the lead, so this is probably a pretty positive matchup for us. Kangaskhan is pretty bulky. We will live two Hydro Cannons, but the opponent swaps into a Golisopod, so running 2 Water-type Pokemon with Shadow Claw is very interesting. But we are going to shield in this matchup. They go for Aerial Ace, that would hit for super effective damage. At this point, Weather Ball might KO. It probably won't quite take them out here, but the opponent's going to shield anyway, so that's fine with us. I would say we probably just double shield here. We're going to shield up a second Aerial Ace. We will at least grab both shields back from the opponent, but they will be able to flip this matchup if they really want to. And they are going to double shield their Golisopod. So we're going to let this move go through here. Of course, we've got no shields remaining. Aerial Ace takes us out. We come in with the Florages here. We're going to go for a very aggressive Fairy Wind farm down, but unfortunately we don't quite get it in time. They do make it to a charge move, but it is just another Aerial Ace, and they've actually got Guzzlord in the back, so this is looking really good for us. We go straight for Disarming Voice. That does huge damage to the Guzzlord. We're going to swap back into our Kangaskhan, and no, why are we going for Brick Break? Brick Break doesn't deal that much damage here. Hydro Cannon gets us very low. I think Crunch is the right play. This is really unfortunate because now the opponent can just fully Shadow Claw, farm us all the way down. They're going to come out with a charge move loaded, and we lose CMP once again. It doesn't quite take us out there, but this is going to be really embarrassing for us because we're about to get farmed down by a Guzzlord with our... Oh my days, that's really painful there. Guzzlord goes to the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw takes out a Floriges, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Virizion in the lead. So not great, going to say swap into our Floriges. We're met with a Shadow Drapion, and things couldn't be going much worse for us right now. Going to let the move go through here. They've got a full Senseless Sludge Bomb. We will at least make it to a Disarming Voice. Potentially 2 of them here, actually. I don't think 1 Poison Sting will take us out, so we make it to the back-to-back Disarming Voices, although the opponent will be able to live this. And the opponent does correctly call that they can live that, so they also don't give us really any farm for our Kangaskhan. So really good play by the opponent so far. but we're going to go for that Mud Slap. It will be taking them out. Crunch doesn't do much damage. We're going to swap instantly into our Roserade, and the opponent's got a Jellicent in the back. So this is a little bit tricky for us, as they are, of course, going to be resisting the Poison Jab damage. But if we can get a shield with the Weather Ball bait there, that's absolutely huge. And at this point, of course, we are going to shield this move. The opponent is going to full send the Shadow Ball there. We can now go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot is going to deal huge damage in this matchup. It puts them into perfect Poison Jab farm down range. Possibly could have thrown the Charge Move there just to make sure we didn't have to use our final shield. But now we can just go for that Poison Jab farm down, go for one Poison Jab, go for a Weather Ball. Weather Ball is going to deal super effective damage. Grab the final shield from the opponent. The opponent does make it to a Charge Move here, but I don't think that's a Stone Edge yet. It's just a Leaf Blade that is double resisted damage, so should definitely go for the Sacred Sword if they're running it, although it's still not going to do that much damage. But the opponent makes it to yet another Charge Move here, and once again it is just the Leaf Blade. We easily tank that, get the Poison Jab farm down, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.